Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Adoptions from the Heart TV. I'm your host, Amanda Aliberti. Today we're super excited. We have Eryka from our Wynnewood PA office here to talk about her experience being a NICU social worker. Take it away, Eryka.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here to talk to you about my experience as a NICU social worker. Prior to being a social worker here at Adoptions from the Heart, I worked as a NICU social worker for about 3 years. And as a NICU social worker, I got to work with a lot of different types of families that were considering adoptions, families that were going into the foster care system. And one of the things that I really enjoyed was being that bridge, that connection between the biological families and whether it was a foster care agency or an adoption agency for those families. One of the things that I was able to do was complete assessments on each biological family. And that allowed me to really get a clue into what these families were like and what their situations were like. And it really allowed me to be empathetic towards these families. One of the things with their adoption cases and working with a lot of prospective adoptive parents, there might have been some apprehension or some concerns with their baby being in the NICU. So there could be drug use, there could have been different issues with prematurity that might have been based off of lifestyle. And sometimes adoptive parents were really anxious or nervous about those things. And being the birth parent social worker, I was able to talk to the adoptive parents and help them understand that birth parents are people too. And they go through different things and no one's perfect, just like no adoptive parent is perfect. So I help them to understand that regardless of the situation and why the baby was in the NICU, this baby is a precious gift. And this child has so many people that love them. They have their birth parents, they have their adoptive parents, they have the social workers, nurses, doctors in the hospital. And that's one of the best parts about open adoption. Open adoption, even in the NICU, you see adoptive parents there spending time with the baby. You see birth parents there spending time with the baby. You also see nurses and staff just bridging the gap. And so as a NICU social worker, I was able to really see the miracle of open adoption. I was able to see it in the hospital. And the hope is that what happens in the hospital would then happen at home as well. So being a NICU social worker really opened my eyes to not only just the medical things that can occur in a baby's life, but also just the miracle of gifts, a miracle of childbirth, a miracle of creating families and seeing that from day one. So I hope that that experience can give you a different perspective and kind of give you a clue in on what it looks like to be in the hospital when a baby is born, in a hospital when a baby is matched, and looking at what creating families looks like before you make it home.
Thank you so much, Eryka, for talking about your personal story being a hospital social worker. We're hopeful that this information can be valuable for people to learn more about what the hospital experience will look like for you. Thanks so much, and tune in next week.